My fiancé smiled while his family publicly auctioned off my dignity. I'd spent the last 18 months planning my wedding, paying deposits, and doing everything I could to make both families happy. On the wedding day, my future mother-in-law smiled, took the stage, and announced they had a special tradition every bride had to follow. She handed me a printed page that said, "I'd obey my husband, never question his parents, ask permission before making major purchases, and always put their family before my own." Then she pointed at the microphone and said, "Go ahead, read it so everyone knows you accept your place." A few guests laughed, thinking it was some weird joke. Everyone else looked deeply uncomfortable. I turned to my fiancé, expecting him to shut it down. Instead, he folded his arms, smiled, and said, "Come on, just read it. You're part of the family now." That was the exact moment I realized I wasn't marrying the wrong family. I was marrying the wrong man. I folded the paper, slipped it into my purse, and called my dad. I told him exactly what had happened. He didn't sound surprised. "Stay where you are," he said. "I'll handle it." Months earlier, when he'd agreed to rescue my fiancé's family's failing business, he'd insisted on adding one clause to the contract. I remember teasing him for being so paranoid. Turns out he wasn't paranoid. He was prepared. A few minutes later, he walked into the ballroom with his attorney carrying a single folder. My father-in-law laughed. "You brought a lawyer to your own daughter's wedding?" My dad didn't answer. He handed him the contract they'd signed when he bailed their business out 6 months earlier and calmly said, "Read page 3. His smile disappeared almost instantly. The clause was simple. If my fiancé or his family intentionally humiliated or mistreated me in a way that caused the marriage to be canceled, every loan became immediately due. My mother-in-law kept insisting it was only a harmless tradition. My fiancé suddenly started blaming his parents, acting like he'd had nothing to do with it. Then my father-in-law did something I never thought I'd see. Right there in front of everyone he'd spent years trying to impress, he dropped to his knees and begged my dad not to enforce the contract. My fiancé grabbed my hand, promising we'd forget everything and start over. I slipped off my ring, placed it on the contract, and walked out without saying a single word. Last I heard, their business was gone within the year, and the only family tradition they still have is telling people I overreacted.